So let's get into this. How I screwed the pooch today. Today was CPI. The market did move. That's the big thing. The market did move. Unfortunately, my timing was so far off today that I actually ended up with a $600 loss. I planned on a $500. I put in a budget of $500 on the day. I was like, CPI, it's very unpredictable. I really don't want to get into anything that I can't get out of. You know, so how did I screw up today? Well, first let's talk about SPY. Let me jump on over to SPY. So SPY had this huge gap up, right? It went from 537 to 541. So that's a huge gap first thing in the morning. I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, I believe this one's going to fail. This mother didn't fail all day long. All right, fine. But what it did do is it did rise up to 542. It took it an hour and a half to go up not even a full dollar. Okay, at that point I was like, there's nothing as far as the way that I trade, there was nothing here for me to jump in on. This was so close to a support level right here. Yes, it did take off, but in all actuality, that is barely a 50-cent move. That typically is not anything that I'll get into, but I decided to go ahead and get into it. So I jumped on this one because, we already had, nearly 15 minutes of nothing. So I jumped in on this. It jumped up another, 10 cents, 15 cents or so, and then just went sideways. That's all it did. And finally at 15 after, I was like, you know what? I'm going to exit this thing. Huge mistake on my part. That was my fault. Ultimately, right here, I made like $50. It was a horrible trade. But horrible mistake on my part because just as I exited, it turned around and SPY caught a bid. And then it just went up. It went to the high, 543, which was still only another $1.45 move. But that $1.45 from here was a hell of a gain. But that timeline from 642 to 742 is an hour. I don't trade for an hour. There's too much crap that can be going on. Now, the other thing is that there was no volume in this. There was no volatility. There was no volume. It was very small candles. So it was just a horrible morning. And then I decided, okay, let's shoot on over to Tesla. All right. I talked about it in the morning. If we opened up underneath this, I'd be looking to go long. And I did. I looked to go long. I did not get in on this candle. Okay. This candle originally broke above. Okay. So it actually broke this darn thing. And I entered. And it instantly turned back around and broke this candle. My outs is one candle. That means it broke it. I'm out. I got to stick to my rules. I can't avoid that. So, and then of course the next candle just comes back up. So I was like, okay, this crap's starting to piss me off. And then it broke it. But when it broke, it was so close to the support at 173. I was like, I'm not entering that. There's no way I'm going to enter that at this support level. And sure enough, went back down. It did pop back up, but then it fell back down. So it was just testing this support area right here. And that's at 7 o'clock. And I was like, okay, it started just minimal movement. The minimal movements I don't get in on. The reason why I don't is because, well, it's just a personal preference and my trading style. I don't do it. These little movements are just realistically, to me, don't have enough volatility in them. We got a green candle right off the 174, but then it dipped back down at 708. Now, I was like, okay, is it going to break this support level? We got this candle, but we had a long wick off the resistance. I was like, okay, perhaps. Then we get this little movement. Now, all these little movements, of course, they add up over time. I understand that. but they're small movements on a CPI day. That means, honestly, we're not getting the market movers in here. This is small moves. This is, market manipulation at its finest. But basically, it's just small, 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 small. Now, because I am a price action option trader, none of this works for me. Absolutely none of this. This little price movement that's taken forever to get up there. I got decay. I got all this crap that's happening. So no, I'm not getting into any of these. So I did not enter another trade on Tesla. Instead, at 7:30, I decided, okay, I'm done. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to trade this right now. Let's go ahead. We'll go out. We'll do our hike, come back. And when I came back, of course, this damn thing was up here at 179. I was like, man, that's actually really nice. Because from here all the way up to there with the 20 contracts that I had, that would have actually been a hell of a nice payday. But I didn't want to leave my money in the market. Not with options. You don't do that with, at least I don't. As a price action trader, I don't leave my money in the markets and walk away. Even if you put in a stop loss, for example, like a typical stop loss for me is about 20 cents or so on a stock option. But Tesla moves so much, it'll trigger it right here, and that's barely even moving, but it'll trigger it. But if you put it bigger, like let's say at 30 cents or 50 cents, well, on 20 contracts, that's $1,000. No thanks. I'm not gambling $1,000, So anyways, I didn't enter. When I did finally end up entering this afternoon was when Powell took the stage, and I looked at what was going on over here. I was like, okay, so we are sitting at the 179, and then we're sitting at, it's just bouncing back and forth in here. I'm like, okay, I can take some risk here. This is where I had my money set aside to do some risks. And right here is when his speech started. So we were at the high of the day of 180.50. I was like, there's no way in heck I'm jumping in right there. So let a little exercise come down. It wicked down here to the 179, went back up to the 180, did not break it. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's grab the contracts. We're going for it, right? And I jumped in here with 12 contracts for the 176 level. All right, so I put in 12 contracts right here. We came down a little bit. At this point right here, I had gained about, it was right around $200 to $300, right in there. On this little move, which is, not bad. I can't look a horse in its mouth, but I was like, this is CPI, let's just continue to run with this. And, it came over. This is about the 300 mark. I was like, okay. Then it dipped under the 179. I was like, okay, rock, let's go. And then I got this freaking wick. Then I was like, okay, whatever. And then this green candle shot up. Okay. But it didn't break my entry. So, okay, I'm fine. And then it swaps over, hits this freaking candle. This candle comes up, it hits the 179. It basically triggers my own stop loss. And I'm like, well, shit, now I'm out. And then it drops back down. And it went back up. And I was like, okay, screw this. I am done with CPI crap. And as soon as I stopped messing around with it and did not want to put any more money, it just fell to the bottom. I was like, I hate you right now. I am so done with you. So lessons from today. Unless it's a clear move, I'm not getting into it when Powell is talking. Okay, Powell causes volatility in the market, which you can see here. It's completely undecided which way it's going to freaking go. But there's also times when he jumps in and it just guns. The last time he came in, the entire market was just straight up while he was on the podium. And as soon as he walked off, the entire market dropped back down. So, and that was like a $4 or $5 move during his speech. Just bam, straight up. So, two things that I learned from today. Number one, I'm going to be staying out of CPI. As a price action trader, I don't like it. The day trade itself, I got to trade on fundamentals. I can't be sitting there worrying about what's going on. If they're going to kill the volatility in the market and wait for him, it might be a good idea just to take a vacation day. Why lose money? Why risk it? It all sounds like a big ass gamble to me based on some news that's coming out, which yes does influence the market, but it's a day of just dealing with that crap. So I might not trade CPI again. We'll see how it comes in the future. How I sit right now is I hate you. But again, people that are trading stocks themselves, like, they have $25,000 that they threw into a stock and it dropped, 30, 40 cents, they made $300, $400. Okay, great for them. They have that, you make that off of a 30-cent move. Me with price action trading, each of my trades is about $1,000, and I only look to make I look to make $300 to $500 on my trades. Nowhere in here today, except for right here, did I even come close to my bare minimum of $300. So, on average, I do better. And the crap from today, I just don't like it. I screwed up. I still ended up losing my money today, and I expected to lose my money, so it's nothing that's really hurting me. I'm just more frustrated that I even tried to get in on these little freaking movements. I should have just left it alone. These little movements aren't crap. The only movement in this whole entire thing that was a movement to even think about getting on was this one right here. This red bar right here. That's the only one I should have thought about getting on. All of the others were just junk. But lesson learned. And we move on. Still a good loser.